All right. So what gets you results? Isn't that like the question, right? What is everybody doing to get results, right? So this is what I've been hearing when I asked somebody, a couple of people this question. It's the amount of followers that someone has, their email list, how high is their engagement on their posts? Or oh my gosh, look at how much engagement, how much a person knows about this type of business. Maybe it was, she read this book or she did this course. Her Instagram insights are like astronomical. Like that's how she got results. And that's not true. Okay. And I'm going to challenge you that in just a second. I also heard maybe it's motivation. And this is like a big one. Think about when you come home from conference, right? Or a team leader retreat, and you are on an emotional high, like you are just on top of the world, right? Because you just need people. I need to be around people. And I get that because, yes, I kind of feel the same. But we can't depend on that because if you don't have it one day, which as in network marketing or as an entrepreneur, most of the time you're working behind your computer or your desk, right? And you might have teammates, but for the most part, you're kind of working on your own, right? So people also, so like, motivation, that type of motivation, like we can't depend on that, right? People talk about circumstances. That was like another one that someone said, because this is happening, I can't get it done, right? And that's not true either. Those are really just excuses, right? Life is never going to be perfect. A lot of people think if I have X, Y, and Z all done and ready, then things will be okay and get better. Or once I'm through this season of life, then things will be better, right? Life is happening all the time, right? And we can have like seasons of life which can be more challenging than others, but that doesn't mean that you can't work your business. So to me, and you might think this differently, but I do have to say most of the time it's excuses, right? And like I said, I understand that at some point you need to evaluate what you're doing in your business, and you might need to slow some things down before ramping it up. Like I get that. There's been seasons in my business where I'm like, I can't do all the things, but what are the things that will keep my business, I like, walking right forward, right? So sometimes what you have to think about is the resistance that is holding you back and really think about how it's affecting you. So every action and non-action that we take comes from a feeling generated in our body, right? So we talked about motivation. Motivation is a feeling, right? But you can't run just on feelings. Like it's just not going to happen. Our body knows what is true. And what our body is operating on is thoughts. Your feelings are not thoughts. And I want you to really think about that. Okay. Do you ever feel anxious where like, that feeling in your body, right? Where do you think that feeling comes from? It's usually from a thought of, I don't have control, right? That's when people get anxious, it's that lack of control. And that creates that anxiousness in your body, right? It's a feeling. So some feelings feel like facts, but they're thoughts. And 90% of our thoughts are on repeat, and most of them are negative. How crazy is that? So the question is, can you catch it before it comes through, right? So we think our facts, or we think our thoughts are facts, but they're actually optional. So it's your opinion and perspective on the matter. So feelings are always a reflection of a thought. So if you don't fix the thought, you can't fix the feeling. So if you're hunting for motivation, it doesn't work, right? So you need to find the thought that feels true in your body that creates the feeling of motivation. It needs to create that feeling. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but we have a conscious brain and a subconscious brain, and our subconscious brain is the file cabinet of all the things that have happened to us in life. And the conscious brain can only think of one thing at a time, the thought, right? But because of the file cabinet, those things are always trying to get to the front. That's why it is so super important that our thoughts are not negative. And we have a lot of experiences in life. So of course there's going to be negative thoughts, right? But you can retrain your brain to have positive not stuff, but yes, stuff. But after positive affirmations are like huge. And that's why people will say, have positive affirmations on repeat, because you want to change the file cabinet so that when it is fighting, or whatever is fighting to get to the conscious brain, it's positive thought and not negative. Okay. So the thought is what creates your results, because they create the feelings, and then the feelings create the action. Let's say this one more time, okay? Because that's a huge nugget. All right. Thoughts create your results. Why? Because your thought, right? A positive thought is going to create a feeling. Maybe if it's even confidence, right? And that feeling is going to create the action that needs to be done. So if you keep looking for the action, but you need to look for the thought, right? Like, people get stuck on creating the actions that need to be done, but what they really need to do is take a step back and say, kind of pull back and be like, all right, let me simplify this, right? Let me simplify all of this so that it feels really good. You don't want it to feel bad, right? What's my whole motto? Fun like Friday night and easy like Sunday morning. It's my thought, right? And my thought is going to create my action and that feeling, okay? So you need to shift and identify the thoughts within, right? So find the thoughts that are getting in the way, which we kind of just talked about, like the negative unconscious brain, right? So what happens if you say to yourself, this was very interesting, and this happened to one of my stylists, right? So I'm just going to throw a number out there. I'm going to recruit 10 people this month, right? 7 days or a week left in the month, you're like, I recruited 2. Well, that's better than none, right? Like, okay, that's great, right? I'm kind of good with that. I tried, and you start to what? Negotiate with yourself, right? Like, well, that was better. That was great. But what I pushed her on was, okay, let's hold that intention of, we wanted to recruit 10, right? So what does that look like? What does that feel like if, on November 1st, I recruited 10, I made the goal, it felt good, like that was amazing, like I did it, right? Hold the intention until the end, okay? Don't give up after well, I only have 7 days left. It's not possible. No, it is. It's very possible. Okay, so you have to hold the intention first, right? The thought, I got this, I can do this. How am I going to do this, right? So what's that feeling that comes up? So you create the feeling because you think of the end result, right? The end result's going to feel amazing, like it's going to feel so good, like so good, right? So you hold that thought, and then you create the action from there. So what would the actions be? So we came up with showing up on Facebook, right? Maybe email marketing, taking the talking to the objection, right? I do this all the time in network marketing. If I'm talking to a prospect that wants to join my business, and they're giving me objections, I will turn around and talk to those objections through my social media, through my stories, through my content. Okay. It's another nugget. All right. You have to believe it's going to happen. So it's about continuing the work. Have intentional thoughts to hold your goal. It's really a mind game, guys. Like legit. So you can't help for the how and sit with it, right? What is my, what does it look like, right? So you got to like kind of trust the process. You decide what the actions are, right? It's about committing to the process over and over and over, right? So you have value to give to people. You have probably a product or a service that people want. Okay, so if you continue in your process, make sure that whatever your process is a good one, right? And then do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, this is the reason why I called the group Screw It, Just Do It, right? Don't overthink it, make it simple. Everybody thinks that they have to be completely done before they start, and that's so not true. I started this group before I even had a course, right? Like, how do you do that? I just did it. I felt the intention. I sat with it. I knew the vision that I saw, and I started to slowly work towards it. Okay. So your desired results come from you and only you, and the thoughts that you decide to have. All right. So the feelings that come from those thoughts and the actions, or maybe the inactions that you take, create the desired or undesired results. Okay. So that's what creates results, is your thoughts. So personal development, my friends, big time, big time.